wide and handsome 1920s brought undreamed of prosperity. The then Secretary of Labor declared,
"The material progress of America is one of the most astonishing things recorded in the annals of nations. Our wealth is 40% of the entire wealth of the earth."
The Roaring Twenties was a time filled with a lot of economic prosperity. More people started living in cities than on farms. With this new cultural change, though, came all of the long-lasting economic effects. This includes business changes, advertising, and credit. New businesses were beginning to appear in the 1920s that were the start of new industries. Some examples of these new industries that began to flourish included electric power, automobiles, gasoline, tourist travel, highway construction, and housing construction. There was significant growth of businesses that were being opened and created along with the new industries. Each year in the 1920s saw a rise in every economic indicator. There was a lot of business growth along with new construction and stock market trading. The amount of economic growth in the 1920s was extremely impressive. There was the ownership of cars, new household appliances, and new processes of producing new products. As you can tell, the Roaring Twenties was a time full of the word new. In the 1920s, there was also a thing called speculators. This is financial assumptions that cause decisions to be made that are not necessarily safe. For example, if a spectator believes that the company's stock is overpriced, they may short the stock, wait for the price to fall, and then would be able to make a profit. Along with all of the success, the 1920s was also a decade of poverty. People couldn't afford to live. Farmers had heavy debt, and while Congress tried to provide relief in the agricultural economy, it made little difference. More than 60% of Americans lived just below the poverty line. It was generally farmers, Black Americans, immigrants, and the older industries that did not enjoy the prosperity of the Roaring Twenties.
A large part of the 1920s was advertising. Many new products were created and released to consumers, including the automobile, airplane, washing machine, radio, refrigerator, television, electric iron, vacuum cleaner, and many, many more. Even today, we still use these products in our daily lives. In 1925, a book was released called The Man Nobody Knows by a man named Bruce Fairchild Barton. This book was basically about how Jesus was the founder of modern business. Barton saw Jesus as this founder because he worked with his hands, slept outdoors, and traveled on foot. The purpose of this book was to make the Christian story accessible to businessmen of the time. Jesus created a world-conquering organization. Another new idea that arose in the 1920s was installment buying. Installment plans were credit systems where payment for merchandise is made in installments over a pre-approved period of time. In this period of time, the most popular items people could purchase with an installment plan were automobiles, automobile parts, household appliances, radios, and furniture. Huge amounts of credit were being used at the time. There was a lot of new forms of transportation being created in the Roaring Twenties. Before this time, horses were the main source of transportation. Now, transportation included automobiles, airplanes, bicycles, and trains. Several types of automobiles were produced, such as sports cars and luxury cars. These new inventions of transportation quickly became more efficient and therefore more popular than others.
In conclusion, the 1920s was a time full of prosperity, especially in technology and consumer culture. There were new industries, new products, and new forms of transportation. The 20s was a vital period of time, and we wouldn't be where we are today without it.